Hello crafty friends, it's Donna here, and I have a little two-step Christmas card to share with you today using this beautiful ram stamp design from Paper Rose Studio called Oh Christmas Tree. I have this Oh Christmas Tree stamp which I'm going to stamp and colour. I'm also going to use this Victorian window die and one of the little rectangles that comes with it for my sentiment. I'm going to stamp on Express It blending card so that I can co-pick colour, and I'm just using that window die to find my position before stamping with Memento ink. You can see me just putting my hand under the door of my stamping tool, and that's so that I can check that I've inked each part of the stamp up nicely. And the first inking is quite good, but I decided to go for a second one anyway. More is more, right? So what we're going to do today is I'm going to colour this in. I'll be showing you the markers on the screen and just jumping from section of the image to section. Once you've seen me colour something once, you can go on from there. If you'd prefer to see the colouring in real time and hear a little bit of a chat about what I've been up to in the last 12 months, then over at Donna is Playing Paper YouTube channel, you can see the full 35-minute version of the colouring and the card construction with a whole lot of chat. Otherwise, stick around here for just the card. This footage has been sped up to either double or 4 times, depending on the section and how long it took. So please don't be under any misconception that this is how fast I colour. It isn't. I've tried to use colours across the image. So when I finished colouring that tree in green, I moved the green across to colour the girl's skirt. These 3 colours here, which I'm using for the golden baubles, also make the lighter colours of the stool. I've just added a couple of darker shades to that stool towards the end of the colouring that will work with these same tones. That way I end up with quite a restful image and not too much chaos. I'm using white gel pen for my accents, and I'll work backwards and forwards between my markers and my gel pen throughout the colouring. I try to follow the lines on the image with my brush strokes. So you can see with this hair, I'm trying to curve my flicks around the shape of her hair. And when it comes to the basket, with my darker colours, I'm filling in the basket weave pattern that's already on the image before colouring over that whole basket with my lightest colour. That leaves a little bit of that basket texture behind. I've chosen some brighter yellows for some of the golden baubles and for the star on top. When I was colouring the star on top, I started with dividing it into sections and colouring half of each section of the star, but in the end you couldn't really see it. The star was a little bit small for that kind of detail, and so I just coloured over the whole top. And as always, I'm back and forward with the gel pen. I used 2 colours for these tiny little baubles. I don't know whether you can see the detail of using the 2 colours, but there was something fun about adding those little dots, and so I did it anyway. I've used Y000 to make some shine coming out from that star. The colour is a little bit cool compared to what I'd like, but I didn't have anything warmer. I'm going to use the Victorian window die, and I've cut one from Kraft Cardstock. This die cuts the window and also scores some little hinges, but I wanted the scoring to be a little bit deeper than what I'd done, and I didn't want to run it through my cutting machine again, so I'm just going through with my bone folder and my scoring mat just to make sure that those doors will open nicely. And even with that window on the front, you can still see my coloured scene. I decided that I'd like a green sentiment, but I'm not sure what I want, so I've got two embossing powders here. Pink and Main Spruce It Up, which is a glitter embossing powder, and also Wow Metaline Kiwi Crush, which is just a regular embossing powder. I'm going to stamp in clear sticky ink. I'm using Versamark ink today, and I'm going to stamp at both ends of my paper because the ink will stay wet long enough to put the two different embossing powders on at the same time. I don't know if it's necessary, but I always double stamp for embossing. Once the stamping's done, I'll shake those powders, one onto each end. And as you can obviously see, that is the Japanese Teachers Association policy on human rights education. We all knew that, didn't we? For those of you that don't know, I'm currently studying to become a Japanese translator and interpreter, so this is the kind of thing that I have lying around in my office. I've heat set both of those embossing powders, and I actually really like them both. In the end, I've gone with the plain one just because it's such a thin line on the sentiment that the glitter made it a little bit less distinct. Also, in order to have the sentiment, which is on white paper, stand out against the background, I'm going to use one of the greens that I used to colour the tree, and I'm just going to run the brush end of that around the outside of my sentiment at a very slight angle so that there's a thin line of green, and that will border this sentiment so that it's not white on white. I'm going to glue the sentiment down and the window down with just a liquid glue. And when I'm doing the liquid glue, on these side bits which have opening hinges, I'm being careful just to put the glue only on the outside half. And then once that's all down, I have another piece of Kraft cardstock, and you can see here that the window opens to reveal the scene. I'll leave you with some close-up photos of the cards. Paper Rose Studio has got some exciting things coming up, so why not like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date with all the information. I'll be back soon with another card. Bye for now.